Good morning, everyone. My name is Barrington Stanford. Today I'm here with the Dr. John.
Go ahead,
I messed your
pronounce
last
it.
name.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Cicala. There we go.
Wow.
I got it
Nice.
right. I got it right. Thank you for coming up today, sir.
My pleasure.
How you
My
doing?
pleasure. If you want to be cool and kind of pronounce it like Italian, it's Cicala.
Ooh, that's fancy.
But
like
anytime I
that.
tell people that, they always spell it C-H-I. No. So, no.
So, me and Mr. Dr. John, spent the last hour or so talking to him in length about life and history. He actually opened my eyes. I've been looking for a job or a better source of income for a while now, and I might become a teacher. through this
You're going to
guidance.
love it. It's a lifestyle choice. It's a lifestyle. But ultimately, I think every job, to some degree, is a lifestyle
Absolutely.
choice.
Absolutely. All right.
They always say if you don't want to work for a living, do something you love. Yeah,
Perspective.
I love this.
Perspective. Now, Mr. I keep calling you Mr. Dr.
Then
Cicala.
just call me John and cut the choice. Cut to the chase. John.
Mr. John is a marketing and sales guru. He is, I'm going to dub the king
No.
of sales.
I'll deny knowledge of you. I will disown you.
He is the king.
I teach it. No. Nah.
Nobody has your qualifications in this area
Oh God, yeah. There's yes.
that I've met. At least.
Oh well, that's you. I saw you. I teach sales and negotiation. I've done it a lot in my life, but I would not call myself the guru. No, God, no. That's way too cocky even for me. I teach it. I think it is a teachable skill. They used to believe that salespeople were born that people were born with that knack and that gift of gab stuff. But no, it's very, very teachable, and negotiation all the more so. For a long time, I think there was a belief that extroverts were the best salespeople. The outgoing, life of the party, knew everybody, never met a stranger, kind of extroverted.
To someone that doesn't know better, that logic might make sense. But.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's more of an ambivert, as Daniel Pink would call them, especially when you're talking sales in fields of technology and very detail oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Introverts are the ones that are going to study and learn and read and know.
Truly
and
understand.
Introverts are the ones that can answer questions. They may not be the most outgoing,
but they know their stuff.
Exactly. So when I was in sales and I had sales teams, I would always try to pair them up. And I would send, I would send somebody who's going to work the room and they can get their foot in the door. And let me have an introvert that's going to tell them. And they can kind of tag team and split the commission to be fine. But working together, you're going to get the sale more so than either one of you.
Or two of them.
Yeah, exactly. And now I think over time they've kind of morphed into what, again, Daniel Pink refers to as an ambivert, where they, like an ambidextrous, they can be extroverted when they need to be, they can be introverted when they need to be, and they have that balance. When I was in Tunica doing sales, because we had a lot of tour and travel, we had a lot of senior bus people would come down from St. Louis and just on their way to the Gulf Coast, but they would overnight in Tunica. And I made a point of hiring salespeople that had grandparents, that grew up with grandparents, because everybody on the tour group were grandparents.
They usually are.
Yeah, and I made a point to hire. I need people that they're going to want to take home. I need to hire somebody that half the people on the bus are going to want to adopt them before they leave here. And that's what I did, and it worked really well because they could relate to the people coming to patronize our properties. Because there were, at the time, Tunica had like 9 different casinos. And the games were interchangeable. There was nothing about our blackjack that was different from any. The games were the same. The slots were the same. It was the people that made the difference.
How do you stand out? That's the people.
Exactly. And I would make certain to hire people that the tours and the tourists and the people coming to visit would like and get along with and could have that relationship with. And that's where I first probably learned the power of building relationships with your clients. And that's what sales and negotiation has parlayed into.
Absolutely.
So there you go.
Great transition. Have you seen or heard of this analogy? Can you sell me this pen?
Oh, no. Yes, Amazon.com. I can sell you the pen. Back in the day before tech, yeah, but that was a different world back then. Customers were at the mercy of the salesperson because customers did
Salespeople.
not have access to information
The
and knowledge like
internet.
they do now. It
Exactly.
so shifted the balance of power from seller to buyer because the buyers before, and I'd teach my kids, I try to teach them, before you ever get to that in-person sales call, you're going to have to go through so many hoops and understand that before the buyer or potential buyer has even reached out to say, I got a problem, I need some help, they have already gone online. They have researched, they have Googled, they have gone, and they know what's out in the market. And again, the products are substitutable. It's going to be the person that makes the difference. In any company I've ever worked for, whenever it came to making that decision, it almost always was, who do you like the best? Who do you feel most comfortable with? And even when I was in Tunica, when I was doing sales, who do you have the best gut feeling with?
Yes. Who do you trust the best? Who gave you the best experience?
Exactly.
Yes.
Because when we were opening Bally's, because they're not there anymore, we got hit by every vendor in a 3-state area because everybody wanted a cut of our money. And we would get T-shirts and all kinds of stuff that vendors would send us for their product. And our
It's
boss,
all the same at some point.
exactly, our boss at the time, Mike, oh good, nobody hated salespeople more than Mike did, and he would never meet with them. So all the flunkies, we had to go meet with them, and he would say, "Well, who did you like?"
Go with them.
Yeah, and it's to a degree similar here as a faculty member, and I've been teaching for 20 years, and
Where are we? Sorry.
University of Memphis. I work at the Fogelman College of Business and Economics. I'm an assistant professor of teaching. I've been tenured at 2 different schools. I was tenured down at A&M where I was an associate professor. I was a full professor at University of North Alabama before coming back home to teach where I was taught because I got all my degrees from here. Kind of like the same with textbook publishers. There's really nothing content different between McGraw-Hill's books or Pearson or Cengage.
There's nothing different. It's all the same.
It's all the same material, and I often would joke around with my students that we use the same numbers that they use at Harvard. They use the same account. They use the same math. It's the same material. It's how it's presented. It's which rep do I feel most comfortable with? Who's returning the phone calls? Who can I access? And who has the best information? The content's the same. And what's going to be like a principles of marketing book from one, it's the same material. It comes down to the person. And I've been really lucky back when I was using textbooks. I had some really good reps. I had a really good rep with McGraw-Hill when I was down in Texas. She was great. They made a point of coming by campus every other week, in person, face to face. Do you have questions? Sometimes I will come and there's like a card from a rep slipped under my office door. No email, no nothing, just a card. Maybe they would have written, came by to see you, let me know. Yeah, no. No. And at Fogelman, we don't have classes. We don't teach on Fridays. We have a Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday schedule, which is really great for students. It's great for faculty. It's very helpful. And there were times I'd be up here on a Friday just getting stuff done, and I'd see textbook reps coming through. And I stopped one. I'm like, we don't have any classes. We don't teach on Fridays, so you're probably not going to find anybody. And he's like, yeah, I know. That's why I'm here. I can just go by and leave my card.
Makes no sense.
I'm like,
Makes no sense.
you might as well be leaving your resume because you're not going to have this job for long, baby.
Come on now.
So yeah, it comes down to the person. It comes down to the relationship. And the same philosophy translates so beautifully into negotiation. You've got to have that relationship. I'm not going to enter into an agreement. I'm not going to negotiate with somebody that Moscow rule is your gut feeling. And if I don't have a good spidey sense, and we all have that, we have all dealt with somebody that we just think, I don't know there's just something about this person that I don't, you just don't trust.
So, Mr. John, real quick, how many years of sales experience do you have?
Oh, God. Teaching or selling?
Period. Point blank.
Oh man, I've been teaching it for 20. I was in sales in Tunica for 9. In the 80s, I did retail, and if retail counts, I've been doing this for like 40 years.
Okay, so I have about 3 years of sales experience. I sold gym memberships
Yeah.
for LA Fitness or Esport Fitness for a little bit. That was my first ever sales gig, and that flopped terribly. Right. Second
Yeah.
gig is where I got majority of my sales knowledge and my experience was mattress firm. Spent 2 years there, and from my knowledge versus Mr. John's knowledge, the principles are still the same.
Oh yeah. People are people.
People are people. People bought from me because not because the mattress felt good at mattress firm, but they bought from me because I gave them the best experience. I listened to them speak, I understood them, and I helped solve a problem
Yep.
in 20 minutes to an hour. Whatever time that the customer was in the store, I made them feel like they were the best person on earth. I dumbed it down for them so that anybody could understand what I wanted, what I was trying to articulate, and they felt like they were getting a good deal.
You got to. That's what it comes down to, and it's everybody should work retail.
Yes.
Everybody
I've been
on
trying to
this
tell people
planet,
this. Everyone.
everybody
At
needs
least once.
to spend some time either in food and beverage or retail, preferably food and beverage.
That'll
Because
humble you.
even
That'll
it will,
humble you.
but
I haven't tried that yet.
You learn to deal with a range of
Everybody.
personalities. We had a company that was looking for an intern. They were involved in the medical profession. They were looking for a sales intern, and I don't remember if it was medical equipment or something to where whoever it was would be helping to call in doctors' offices. And I had a student that was a bartender at a place somewhere, and I thought you would be perfect because she had spent a year and a half as a bartender, so she's dealing with a range of personalities. And I think she got training in patience and tolerance and how to put up with people and how to be nice and always smile when you want to just reach across and smack somebody across the head, but you can't do it. And I'm like, you would be perfect for this role because if you're calling on medical practices and clinics, you need to be patient and understanding, and they got patients they got to see. So I think she would have had all the quality, would have been a really good fit. But yeah, so the skills you learn in retail at dealing with people, even when I was in nightclubs, when I was working back in the 80s in nightclubs and we were across the street from a pretty nice hotel, and a lot of folks were staying there on expense accounts, and they would come over, and you just learn to deal with personalities and different. I think just to cut to the quick, you learn when you need to just shut up.
Ooh.
You learn when to shut up. Not everybody learns it. I've not always learned it, and there are times I forget it. But I think people through retail and those jobs dealing with the public, you learn when you need just to
You learn so
Shut
much.
up.
You learn so
and let the silence carry it and let them just bite your tongue, whatever it takes, but be nice because there's rarely a need not to. Sometimes you might have to deal with somebody that's driving you crazy, but
We'll always deal with that.
you got to. So retail was a great training ground. And I worked retail, man. I worked at Pop Tunes, I worked for Blockbuster, I worked a bunch of retail before going corporate with Tunica and gaming. Used to run buses to Splash.
Let me ask you, what was your
Sure.
first ever sales job?
Goldsmiths sold lady shoes. I started out at the receiving dock, and when the trucks would come in from the warehouse and inventory, we would take it, put it on racks, and just take it to whatever department. And somehow got a job working in the lady shoes department at Goldsmiths Oak Court back in the early 80s. It was commission, which was nice, but talk about, you've probably heard stories of old ladies fighting each other. They did. Christmas time, I don't know what it was. It was a brand called Daniel Green house shoes. I don't know because I was probably 19, 20 or so at the
I'd have
time.
loved to see that.
You would see these, what looked like normally sweet grandmother people, something just triggered
Snapped.
inside of them, like I saw it first, no, I saw it, and they, because we just put them out in the bin. feeding frenzy.
Because you see that in movies where you have either shoes or a TV or
Yep.
something where a lot of people want, and they just put it out there, and the people just rush to it.
We
Give me, give me, give me.
every Christmas we would experience that. It was just bizarre. Got to me. I waited on Dionne Warwick one time. She was in town doing a benefit, and I don't know why, but for some reason she needed shoes, and they brought her to us. I do not know why, but I wound up waiting on her, and that was kind of cool. But yeah, that was my first retail experience was Goldsmiths, and from there I went to Pop Tunes Record Shop over on Summer. I think it's a laundromat now. But yeah, retail was just great training ground. You learn to deal with people. You learned how to start building those relationships, and you get your regulars. I had regulars through Pop Tunes. And I think that's what you're trying to get in B2B sales. Because as
Building reputation in your brand.
exactly, and even though you're selling to a business, whether it's a university, a company, a hospital, government, it's still a person who's doing the buying. University in Memphis doesn't buy jack. University doesn't hire anybody. People that work on behalf of in purchasing, in human resources, it's people that are doing the hiring and buying and such. So you still have to have those people skills.
Point of contact.
Yep. And the same goes double for negotiations. You have to build relationships. And I'll ask my students, if a complete stranger walked up to you and said, I need $20, how many of you would just give a complete stranger 20? Nobody raised their hand. All right, what if they said they need 20 for gas money? What if a classmate, somebody in a class with you leans over and said, ma'am, can I borrow $20? I got to get gas on the way home. I'll give it to you next class meeting. Yeah, okay, they probably would. If it's somebody you know, and everybody knows somebody, that if they asked you for a favor, I need $20, can you give me a ride to work? Whatever it is that you would just say yes, no questions asked, because it's them, I know them, I trust them. That's the level ideally you want with your counterpart in a negotiation. You can just ask for something or suggest something like, you know what, I trust you. Fine.
How do you, like in
How do you
retail,
build that?
in retail, right? Because when, like in Mattress Firm or Best Buy or somewhere where you only have 5 to an hour of somebody in the store, how do you build that connection?
Ask them questions. You let them talk. Everybody loves to talk about themselves. And if you ask them questions, you give them the opportunity, and you want to try to ask them open-ended. What are you looking for? What are your interests? And they may tell you they don't really know. They may be focused on price. They may have certain criteria that are going to be deal breakers. They may, but let them tell you, and you paraphrase it back so they know you were paying attention, you heard them,
Yes.
and they weren't just talking out loud to themselves, or you weren't thinking one step ahead. Yeah, I'm taking you straight to that Sony Bravia over there for $5,000. I know where I'm. No, not everybody needs an 80-inch $5,000 TV.
Exactly.
Find out what they're looking for. And when I was taking a class in negotiation at another school, there was a great professor. His name was Brian Mandel. I loved him. He had a gravelly, I don't know that he did, but he spoke like he'd been smoking for 40 years. He had that gravelly kind of voice like that, but he was brilliant. And he did a great seminar called The First 180 and The Last 180. And he said that in almost every situation, whether it's a negotiation, sales, whatever, it's going to be that first 3 minutes and the last 3 minutes are going to make or break it. In the first 3 minutes, you're going to, the person you're dealing with is going to decide whether they're going to listen to you.
Exactly.
And your goal is to make them, and he had this, and this is one of those college phrases, conversationally receptive.
How do you do that?
Ask them questions and let them talk. Let them lead the conversation. But in the first 3 minutes, you either got them or they're gone. And then once you got them, where it goes south is when, and this is not uncommon with salespeople, again, they don't know when to shut up and just close the deal.
Talking too much.
Exactly.
Talking way too
And
much.
it was his analogy. He got this in talking to a pilot. I think he was at an airport waiting on a flight somewhere, just making small talk. And the pilot said, you know, there's rarely ever a problem with a flight during the flight. If there's going to be a problem, it's either during takeoff or landing. 90% of the problems are going to happen is either in the first 3 minutes or the last 3 minutes. And something about that just clicked, and Professor Mandel said, and he said, it's kind of the same in my field. And people don't practice. Before you go on a sales call, before
Role play.
you role play, you practice with other people so that when it counts, you're prepared. Athletes do it, musicians do it. No musician is going to play a concert and just go up on stage for the very first time and start playing.
Ace it.
No, you got to practice, you got to rehearse. Athletes, same way. So why, if you got a couple of dollars on the line for your commission or your sales,
why won't you practice?
Exactly. And the great thing with that, you can practice all day, every day at building relationships and asking questions and learning how. And you can practice every day with everybody you meet. And you practice when it doesn't count, so you get good enough so that when it does count, you're ready.
There you go. Outside of sales, what other experience do you have? You have experience in marketing?
Yeah.
What else you got?
Oh, I did a lot of marketing because sales is always part of a marketing department. Mm-hmm. So when I was in Tunica, we were doing sales and marketing. When I was working back in the 80s for the Showboats and Memphis Pro Football, we'd have the exhibition games. And even though I was doing sound and music, I did a couple like the wake up call, the morning shows when we were trying to sell tickets to the exhibition game because we were trying to get one of the pro teams. When I worked at Methodist hospitals, I was in marketing and would do press releases, and we had a magazine. And one of the coolest things I ever got to do when I was working in marketing for Methodist, and I was just an intern, but we did a special on third shift. And I don't know what triggered it. But the entire department, we were all there, and we stayed and worked a third shift. And we were talking to the people that worked third shift, the 11 to 7 shift. Mm-hmm. And they all wanted to be there. They requested. They didn't want daytime. Either they were working third shift when their kids were asleep, and they could get home in time to see their kids go to school, and they'd be home when the kids got home from school. And then by the time they went to work at 11, their kids were in bed, asleep, their spouse was there. They loved third shift. It was almost a separate kind of culture. People working that shift. I guess the same would apply to cops, firefighters, anybody doing that third shift.
It's different motivation.
It's a different world. It was an eye-opening experience for all of us because we were 9-to-5ers. We were daytime people. Even though we knew the hospital's open over 24/7, we weren't there. We didn't really have an understanding, and we certainly didn't have an appreciation for what took place between 11 and 7. Because we'd show up at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock the next morning.
And things were just the way they were.
I think it's for Richard and myself and several others. It was eye-opening, and I think it changed us for a while anyhow. And that when we would make decisions going forward, we
had that in mind.
Yes. I think it allowed us to make better, well-rounded decisions going back to business and sales, and that's what it all comes down to, is who's going to make that decision. When they used to teach when negotiations was first being taught at schools and university, it wasn't called negotiations. It was called competitive decision making. I loved that. Now, granted, that's a college-sounding kind of course title, but it's true because what you're doing is I'm trying to see if I can make better decisions than the other guy. Now we're working together, we're collaborating, but I still need to make. And the irony,
competitive decision making.
You will never ever know if a decision you make is the right one until after you make it. You're never going to know up front. All you're going to know is based on the information I have.
What can I make?
From conversation, from talking, from listening, based on the information that I have to work with, I've made what I think is the best decision based on that.
And there's usually always room for improvement after.
But you're not going to know if it was the right one until after you've made it and the chips fell where they're going to fall.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Boom. Done. Nice.
What do you think is the most important thing in sales?
Reputation.
brand? How you're known?
The reputation of your brand, the reputation of your crew, of your staff, what other people. So I'm just going to say your reputation. Um, I often used to joke that I wish Honda made airplanes.
Why?
I don't know, but I started thinking it when I was going somewhere and the flight was delayed or there was some problem. And I just remember thinking, man, if Honda made planes, it would be nice.
Oh, yeah, Hondas are great.
Hondas, Toyotas, of reliability. I had a Honda for like 5 or 6 years, never saw a garage, never had a problem with it. So yeah, reputation. Whether it's the reputation of your people, of your company, of your products, of your services, what do people think of you? That's what it is. So you need to do everything with that in mind. What are people going to think? What can I do to go that extra mile? What can I do to help the reputation and image and what people think of me? Or what's going to ruin? What's going to screw that up, and what do I not want to do? We used to do when I was down at A&M. We would have a meeting at the beginning of every semester with the students who were graduating that semester. However many there were, we'd get together, we'd have somebody from the registrar's office, and you got to do these forms. If you're doing graduation, fill out this. So we'd give them the checklist, and I would always point out to them that it's not too late to screw this up. I know you got, because a lot of times they start, oh, I'm graduating, they lose, their focus shifts, and they forget that y'all still got classes this semester that you still have to pass. So it's not too late to screw this up. Don't do that. So yeah, think about what could damage the reputation, what could hurt, what could make them not ever want to call you again. And don't do that. So worry about the reputation.
Let's bring the conversation back towards school and some students. What are some successes you see that students make, and what are some failures that you see commonalities in students?
Failures, I'm going to go to that one first, and I know I'm going to sound like the old white guy, but writing.
What do you mean?
This too casual. And I realize that professional life has gotten more casual over time. But if you're dealing with somebody that you don't know, that doesn't know you, that you don't have a relationship with, and you're emailing, use their title. Be professional, be polite, check your spelling and grammar, because even if it doesn't matter to you, it's probably going to matter to them.
The first 3 minutes, it's the same concept.
Yep. And the job market is way too tight, and if you think it's tight now, just wait. It's going to get worse. And if you send a letter of interest or an application, and there's any problem, grammatically, whatever, you go into the circular file. Because I've had too many HR people tell me that, I'm going to get 6 applications for this one job, and I got to start
tightening.
Yep, weeding out, and I'm looking for excuses to discard them. Don't give them one. Whether you download Grammarly or whatever, or run it by somebody else before you click send. I got an email from a student today, no punctuation, no capitalization, misspelled my name, misspelled a bunch of stuff.
You can't take that seriously.
And I'm like, I'm a little more casual than the average bear in class, and okay, fine, but I'm still the professor.
Respect.
And it's not so much disrespect, but if you were to send that to an employer, no. Better to get corrected by me and get pissed off at me than to send it to a potential employer, and wonder why you never heard back.
Because you're never getting emailed back.
Exactly. So if you don't know them, if there is not an existing relationship, fail on, play it safe, be professional. Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so. And whoever it is, they're on the website. You can do a little homework.
LinkedIn.
Find out their name, find out their title, and use it. Success stories. I've had some really great kids. I still keep in touch with students that I had in Memphis when I taught here 20 years ago. I still keep in touch with students from Texas. And I love hearing their successes. One of my students here years ago, I think she got out in 05 or 06. I won't mention her now. She had an internship with Maybelline.
Ooh.
Out at Shearing Plow, and she was doing office work, but they were so impressed, and she was so good. They offered her a job, And that's hopefully what happens with an internship is when you graduate, you got a permanent gig. She wound up working for them in Manhattan. They sent her to Manhattan in an office on the 23rd floor in downtown. She was in charge of layouts and planograms for Maybelline's Walmart stores. If you went into any Walmart where you had the Maybelline products displayed and how they were displayed, and with the eyeliners and rouge and lipstick, she did that.
That's impressive.
Oh, she's one of my fast. Going to get her to do a Zoom and talk to some of my students this semester. And if she's hearing this, call's coming. She eventually managed to parlay that somehow into a job over in Dubai. She was working in Dubai for years.
Still with Maybelline or a different company?
It was a different company. But the skills she learned here and as an intern and with Maybelline.
Compounded.
Yeah, the jobs you get out of graduation, it's probably not going to be your last job. But look for a job that's going to give you opportunities. Look for a job that's going to give you potential. And it's kind of gets overused a bit about growth and opportunities. Take it seriously and ask them. I know people have been with the same company they've been with since they graduated. I know other people that are in the same industry that have parlayed their skills and experience. But yeah, I get a big kick out of the successes of my kids. I really do. I don't have children personally, but I've been teaching for 20 years, so I got a couple thousand of them out there.
There you go.
Some of them still talk to me, some, not so much.
Last question for you.
Shoot.
What is your favorite part about being a teacher and an educator?
Students. Oh, far and away the students. And not having to work retail. It's fun. It keeps us young. I learn a lot of stuff from them, and sometimes I learn more from them, I think, than they learn from me. But hearing their stories and watching what they're doing, we got some good kids. When I first started doing this, one of my early professors here, one of my mentors, was trying to give me some advice. And he said, when you start teaching, you will find that there are going to be 4 or 5 that you're going to ask yourself, why are you here? You might see them on test
Absolutely.
day. You're like, okay, who's making you come here? Because clearly, no. But at the same time, you're going to have 4 or 5 others that are really into it. And it matters, and they want to learn, and they're kind of pumped and psyched, and they love the material, and they're really into it. Everybody else is under the bubble, under the curve somewhere. But you're going to have 2 extremes. Why are you here? You should not be here. No, just go work, and no, life will take care of you, but no. But it's those handful that are into it and make it fun and get into it, and they may be the ones that voluntarily sit down front. They're the ones that will ask questions. They're the ones that make it fun. But I've had some really great students over the years. I have indeed. And when I wrote that book, I was telling you earlier, I wrote a textbook. Before I sent it to the guy to do the foreword, before I sent it to him, I sent it to about a dozen different students. I'm like, what do you think? Would you read this? Does this make sense? And I got some good feedback from my students because that's who I was writing it for. I wasn't writing it for practitioners. It was a book in negotiation. And when I was approached to write one, I said no, because they already got about a couple of hundred how to negotiate everything. And I'm like, no. I said, well, why aren't you? And I wouldn't use them because they were all written for practitioners. When I was taking classes through the program on negotiating at Harvard Law, most of the participants were all lawyers. And the case studies and examples were all geared for that. Nothing was geared for undergraduate students, nothing. I love my undergraduate students, but none of them are going to have a point of reference to discuss zoning regulations being negotiated. No, they're not there. And the publisher, Acquisitions Editor, said, so why don't you write a book for them then? Smart aleck. And I'm like, okay, I didn't see it. I know I should have seen that coming, and I didn't.
From a mile away.
So I wrote a book, I hope geared for undergraduates and graduate students, but geared more for people that don't have that much experience. And the running example Because I asked my students, what do y'all negotiate? What kind of negotiations are you doing in your world? And one of my students, Giardine, I'll never forget this. 3 seconds, roommates, and I kind of looked at her. I'm like, that's brilliant.
That's
That's going
absolutely
to be
insane.
your first major real life kind of negotiation is with a roommate, and that was the running example throughout probably the first half, 2/3 of the book.
That is brilliant.
Is you're not really negotiating price because the rent's set. You'll split the rent. But utilities, while I'm working all day or at school, they're home playing video games, running up the utility
Washing
bill.
dishes or
Yeah.
bathroom stuff.
You're doing food. How are we going to split up this refrigerator space? You've got internet. I got internet. Well, whose are we going to use? Are we both going to pay
Come
for
together?
our own? I got a TV and you got a TV. Okay, well, whose TV is going in the big room? All the goofy little stuff. And so from them, I got some really good examples that I hope I did well when I put them in the book to give them, the concepts are going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
But they need to have a point of reference to understand how it applies.
What's that book called, please?
The book is called Always With, Never Against, also the name of the podcast that we were talking about before. A textbook of collaboration. It is only available as a digital at the moment. I think you get it through Vital Source is the electronic textbook, vitalsource.com. Always With, Never Against. I think they're getting $100 for, which I thought was a little pricey. But the publisher then pointed out that the electronic version of one of the competing publishing companies, who should go nameless, their special package, it was like 170. So I didn't feel so bad about asking 100 for mine, because I've got examples and questions and all that stuff in mind. And so, yeah, the students far and away have been the highlight of my 20-year career with this. I've had some great students.
Sorry, one final question. If you had to do it all over again, would you do it something that's different, or would you
Start.
do the same?
I would start sooner because I've had such a blast doing this, and I wish I had done it earlier in life. But I don't think I could have. I don't think I was ready in my life to do it in my 20s or 30s. I didn't. No, I think I did it when I was supposed to do it. Marriage has a way of straightening you out and doing that to you.
Haven't got that yet.
No, and don't marry a lawyer. But just kidding.
Shade.
If I had it to do all over, I've had a great ride. I've had some cool experiences in life. I've been involved in a lot of stuff. Working at Pop Tunes was so cool because I was working at a record store when they opened the Mud Island Amphitheater, and we'd do in-store appearances and
I hate that I never got to see that. And it's
great concerts. That was fun. At the ground level of Tunica, I used to run buses to the first casino and parlayed that into it was a fun career in the 90s. We were making it up as we went along. So I've had a lot of the Showboats was a lot of fun. I've had a good ride. So it's all been fun, and you couldn't have scripted it. Could not have scripted, okay, I'll go to law school and fail out, and then I'll go do this, and then I'll go work as a bank teller, and then I'll go run buses. No, it just happens. But it's been good experiences, and they all build on each other. What I do in the classroom is the cultivation of all the years of experiences from retail, from DJing, from Blockbuster, from Tunica. It all rolls in together. They're all experiences that you bring forward with you.
Mr. John,
There's your ending.
thank you so much.
And I got 20 minutes to get to class.
There we go.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.